Alright, let's continue walking through this train wreck. See, no, that wasn't a joke about Final Fantasy XIII or the LP. I'm literally... This entire place is just full of wrecks. It was literal. I was being literal. What?
Alright, so we got Hope and, we got Hope in the group now, so we're back to 3. And you notice that we had 2 gorilla paradigms there. The reason for that is that Hope and Saz have very different abilities as synergists.
The game does this sort of thing with characters with different roles. It gives them their own little themes. It's a thing.
The short version is that Saz, as a synergist, has the offensive paradigm. He gets stuff like bravery, faith, haste, whereas Hope is your defensive one. He's going to get stuff like shell, protect, all that kind of stuff.
Time to pull the old switcheroo.
Now, the thing with synergists is that, yes, they're very useful, but the AI cannot effectively play the synergist role for shit. It is a problem. Like, it's very good at the other roles. Like, commanders will prioritise people who are staggered and are on high percentages, and Ravagers they'll correctly do elemental stuff, and, you know, well, we'll talk a bit more about medics later, but, you know, for the most part, this stuff isn't rocket science. But synergists.
Yeah, synergists have a problem where the AI, it gets much worse later in the game. But for now, they're okay. But much later, they get to a point where they have a predetermined list of priority. So, they will always cast whatever is at the top of that list, and then they will go to the next item, and then the next item, and so on and so forth.
And they'll do this for everyone in your party.
Yes. This is extremely annoying, because half the time it's like, all I want is to put bravery and faith up, and then go at it.
Yeah, bravery and faith are great. You want bravery and faith on your guys. This is a fact.
Yeah, and then the problem is that the AI will go, well, first I have to cast Vigilance, and then I have to cast Protect, and then I can cast Shell, and now I'll get around to Bravery.
Yeah, they fucking love Vigilance so much. Like, the AI cannot cast Vigilance enough times. Do you know what Vigilance actually does? Tell them what Vigilance actually does.
Vigilance makes it so that your attacks are more likely to stagger the enemy, like interrupt their attack, and less likely that the enemy will do the same to you.
What an incredible status.
That's it. It is the AI's favorite thing to cast. The AI always, always, always cast that first, if it can.
Like, who the hell wants to just cause more damage, or even take less damage? The one thing that the AI can do reasonably well with synergists is, well, we won't see it yet because it involves abilities that we don't have, but they're elemental, so the AI is good at using elemental stuff.
A warship from Pulse.
You mean they made it this far?
No, of course not. Not during the war, and not since. They might have tried.
More history.
But none of their forces made it into Cocoon. They only damaged the outer rim. Then, the Sanctum's Fal'Cie pushed them back. What'd you, sleep through history?
More or less. So, what
Vanille is such a model student.
Here?
Seriously.
Once the war was over, people couldn't live near the rim anymore.
Like a lot of other things in Final Fantasy XIII,
So the Fal'Cie,
this place
gathered up scrap from Pulse.
has the trappings of something that's actually interesting, as is presently being exposited to us.
Who'd have thunk?
That's pretty much the limit of what the game knows how to do with interesting things. It stops us playing the game and then tells us about them. You know, there's no reason that the game with better writers couldn't have taken, you know, this place, so it's basically full of old war relics and other, like, you know, we brought up Cocoon being a weird kind of sphere colony place. What this place is that place got a giant hole blown in the side of it, and then it got patched up by whatever stuff was nearby at the time, which happened to be scrap, warships, stuff. So, hey. But nope. It's the exact same mechanically as every other area. It's just a corridor that you walk down, and there are some fights.
Yeah, we kind of skipped over a new enemy a little while back, but we'll get to another one of them in just a second.
Game doesn't want for battles. Really, it's fortunate that the battle system manages to keep up its novelty for as long as it does. Speaking of novelty, is anyone else sick of this music yet? I don't know what it is. I mean, there's other music in this game that you have to listen to for ages at a time, seemingly. But this one manages to annoy you more. Anyway.
Alright, so here we got actually technically one new enemy, but we'll introduce both of them. The first one here is the Succubus. He is essentially an enemy saboteur. Heretic Dance will cast Deep Protect on one of your party members, and he also has an attack called Subversive Dance, which will cast Bravery. These guys are a huge priority and you want to kill them immediately.
Remember, debuffs in Final Fantasy XIII are actually meaningful. So using them on the enemy is great, having them cast on your guys is very bad.
Especially because they love to come with these guys, the Incubus. They are basically just physical hitters. They attack fast, and they will often gang up on somebody. So if they've been hit by Deep Protect, that is a bad thing waiting to happen.
Yeah, look at what they did to Vanilla with one round of combat. Like, if we hadn't just switched to a medic there, she would have died.
Now, fortunately, one thing about debuffs is that you can dispel them by casting the appropriate counter to it. If you've been hit by Deep Protect, if you cast Protect, you cancel it out.
That's another nifty thing in this game is that, most of the buffs and debuffs are impaired, so you can use synergists for healing things, and saboteurs to counteract enemies who are buffing themselves. It's a nice thing.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. There are a couple dangerous combinations, especially when they start combining Succubi with the Pulsework soldiers like you see here, but on the whole, it's really not that bad.
Yeah, this is a game starting to introduce us to how difficult it's going to get later. Really, like a lot of other things, what the game eventually becomes is just managing all the stuff that's going on at once. There is a lot, actually, that you have to keep track of. What enemies are around, what they're doing, what they can be doing, and generally what it all means for your guys. And in the meantime, you manage this by doing pretty much the only thing that you've ever done in this game, and the only thing you will ever do, which is by switching paradigms correctly at the right time, at the right moment, and to the right one. It's actually a little bit shocking how much they managed to do with it, but
I think this is a fight I kind of left in because it was sort of like, well, this is what happens when things go wrong, but maybe it's not. Doesn't look like it. Oh yeah, I remember what this is now.
Could have got a lot more wrong.
Yeah, here's the problem with using saboteurs as your commando light, as it were. Once the enemy is full up on all the conditions that you can inflict on it, the saboteur will pretty much sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, the AI doesn't take advantage of the saboteur thing.
Because you can recast. If it already has Deep Protect and you recast Deep Protect on it, it will reapply it and reset the timer on it.
So it's not like there's no point.
But the AI it never does that. So you gotta be really careful about how you approach it with that.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird oversight, really. I mean, it's not like casting spells costs anything. So why the hell do they do it? I mean, somebody would have had to specifically program them to not do that. And just why? I mean, it's not like the developers of this game put much effort into anything else. So why'd they go the extra mile with this?
Yeah, you can see we got 0 stars from that fight, so yeah.
I hope snow's alright.
Yeah, it could have been over much faster.
I mean, it's not helped by the fact that I am not particularly good at playing Synergist myself, so that sure doesn't help anything, but once we get a Commando back, we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, most of the problems with Saboteur and Synergist come from the fact that their deficiencies are all caused by the AI having to play them. When you're in control of them yourself, it's great, but then you have to manage it.
Hey, welcome to the
And you
party.
can't just use auto battle because that will just do whatever the AI would do.
Would it kill her to smile?
Oh, that was a meaningful cutscene.
Yep. But, Lightning is now kicked out Hope, and we actually have a proper commando. So, this upcoming section is much, much easier.
Of course, it's messed up all our paradigms, again.
Yeah, so I gotta go back and re-add Try Disaster.
I don't know why they wouldn't, just make it a default one every time it's possible. I mean, it's not like you can ever be wanting for Ravagers.
Alright, so here's a fight that would have been legitimately difficult without a commando. It's 2 Pulsework soldiers.
Time to get serious.
Let's watch how much Lightning changes this.
The other thing you've got to remember about Commandos versus Saboteurs doing the staggering role is that the Commando has the passive that makes enemies take more damage, because, that's one of their core things. So, yes, you can still stagger people reasonably effectively with a Saboteur, but you won't be dealing as much damage. It's very much a backup plan. Whereas Lightning, well, you just swore. But having Deprotect cast on my guy at the same time doesn't exactly hurt.
Yeah, if you're properly buffed and you have the enemy debuffed, you can easily be dealing double damage, right from the outset.
Again, buffs and debuffs actually useful.
So yeah, not even a minute to take out 2 of those guys.
Could have been a lot worse.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, Vanille. Well, looks like we've reached a point where we're skipping battles again.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new here, it's just more succubi and incubi.
You can keep... Well, somebody probably is keeping a running count of all the times that this game would have been made significantly better just as a video game on its own merits if they just made every area about half as long.
Or at least cut out half the encounters.
Doing good.
Thank you, Lightning, for that insightful remark. It's possible I was a little fast a couple of videos ago bringing up the silliness of the incidental dialogue. This is about the time I should have brought that issue up.
Just need to get through here.
Because it starts becoming completely contextually meaningless. You can take, I'm going to say more or less any line from anywhere in the game after Chapter 3 and replace it with any line from anywhere else in the game, and it will make about as much sense.
Alright, so that was an Ember Ring. That is basically
Hurry
what
up.
the Spark Ring was, but it gives you fire resistance set. So, seeing as last time we fought a big electric bird immediately after getting one of those, what do you think this means?
Ooh, I want to say
What do you
ice.
suppose that is?
That's a good question, Lightning. It looks like a boss to me.
Well, let's upgrade our guys again. Oh hey, we got Vigilance!
Hooray!
Hooray!
Now we can never trust the AI to be a synergist again.
Also, he looks like it picked up something called Overwhelm.
We did. That is a Ravager passive, which basically makes it so that the more Ravagers you have on the field, the better chain boost you get from it.
Which actually is what happens when you have more Ravagers on the field anyway, but that just makes it more so. We haven't, like, it's not a massive thing yet, but eventually the role passive abilities, like, not the ones that we're getting on the Crystarian, but the actual innate passive effect of roles, will start becoming important. And in about 50 videos time, we'll be able to use the greatest paradigm deck of all time, which is made so effective simply by the innate passive roll bonuses.
What is that?
That's a boss, Saz. Can't you tell?
I like how it was just sitting here deactivated this entire time.
You have eyes, don't you?
Well, how hard can this be?
Alright, this is the Dreadnought. He has a lot of HP, but that's really about his only threatening thing right now.
Yeah, he's going to take some doing. Fortunately, we've got a manually controlled synergist working for us. So...
Yep, this is the point where I kind of get with it and start using them a little bit more appropriately.
yeah, synergists are a great way to make boss battles a bit easier, because you can just buff up all of your guys. They get some really great extra abilities later.
Alright, so here's the one of the major gimmicks of the Dreadnought is the Steam Clean ability. He basically just sits there and does nothing for a while, and when it's finished he will remove a debuff from himself. But while he's sitting there, you can just pile on with Try Disaster. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it's a bit of a terrible gimmick, really. I don't know, I'm not really sure what they were going for here. Well, it looks like this guy's really giving you some trouble.
Could you tell? That actually killed me. That actually, right there, that killed me in one of our previous recordings.
But I guess it wouldn't be a Final Fantasy XIII boss if it didn't have a bullshit second phase.
I thought we were goners. You alright?
Yeah, so first, something to note, just since it's, for the second round, it will start you in whatever paradigm you were in last time, but it still treats it as a new fight, so we still have to watch the stupid cutscene, even though that's not the scene that we started in.
And you get a full heal.
Yes, we do. We do. It is treated as a new fight, so we do get a full heal.
Here's a slightly annoying thing about manually controlling synergists. You'll notice that we cast buffs and Vanille becomes a target, which means that we get to see her health bar instead of the enemy's, and we also get to see her stagger gauge, because our party members actually have stagger gauges for all of that actually matters.
I mean, it's worth noting that they work the same way as the enemy stagger gauges do. So, the higher, say, Vanille's stagger gauge is, the more damage that she's going to take, but we can also heal her with more.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of weird in that to see flinging cures at somebody and they're getting staggered from it, but yeah, it's a really weird system, and it looks like it's exactly the opposite of what it is. It looks like it's a bad thing, but
no, it's a good thing. The higher the stagger is, the more you can heal them.
yeah, they just, maybe could have shown it in something other than the interface that you use to know what kind of damage multiplier you've got on an enemy. Fortunately, your guys can't actually be staggered like enemies can.
No. But yeah, so as you can see, when you properly use Synergists and Saboteurs, you pretty much just destroy bosses. Not even half the target time.
Hey, this guy dropped another shop. Oh, and he dropped a different thing as well.
Oh,
Folks is
yes.
crawling with things like that,
We will.
isn't it?
We will have to talk
Not
about
me.
that next time, but
Not even
that
the Corps has access to
unlocks
intel
the
on pulse.
item upgrade system.
Soldiers in the field fight blind.
What a brilliant and well implemented and interesting and varied system it is.
But don't you need to know exactly what you're up against?
Target's a target.
And of course, we also got
You
new
like to
Crystarium
keep it
stuff,
simple, don't you?
expanded set,
Stick to my
and
goal.
we unlock Commando for Saws
As long as you have a
and
goal,
Medic for
you
Lightning.
can fight.
You can stay
At
alive.
least Sars won't have to rely on his Saboteur roll for staggering.
So yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit that we are not going to talk about for a while because holy shit, fuck that system.
Seriously. It's possible that some, up to 100% of the 4 words I used to describe it earlier may have been lies.
Alright, well, that is it, so we will see you guys next time.
See ya.